All right, let's talk about Wonder Woman because there's some interesting leaks that are coming out about the new movie, and I want to go over them because I can sense, I can kind of tell that some people are going to be upset about the plot of this movie. But I want to stress, and I want to be very clear about this, these leaks come from Reddit, so there's no way to tell for sure, if this is legit or not. However, recently, there's been a lot of leaks that have hit Reddit, and they've all been true. The biggest one that I want to point to is, of course, the Rise of Skywalker. Because I remember those leaks actually came out, they came out really early, like months before the movie came out. And they were true. They were 100% true. I'll never forget it because I was sitting in a theater. And as soon as the screen crawl started, I thought to myself,
it's true. All of it.
And it was at that point I decided Reddit rumors might actually be worth talking about sometimes. But you always want to put that message out there that these aren't confirmed and we don't know if they're legit or not. However, I think that this is worth talking about. So, before we begin, if you are worried about spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984, this video might not be for you to watch. However, I do want to point out that these could be fake. We don't know. It's just a fun video to make. So, it's up to you if you want to proceed or not. So, let's begin. Okay, so for the first part of this, we're going to go back to an article that came out January 1st, 2020. And the stuff in this one lines up with the new stuff. But I want to start here because this is how the film starts out. Okay? And this is why I don't think critics are going to like this movie. They're going to hate it. And for a lot of reasons. First off, they don't like... If you remember when Wonder Woman came out, there wasn't a lot of politics surrounding it. I'll never forget that because it's nothing like Captain Marvel. The media did 100% act like Captain Marvel was the greatest and bestest ever female superhero movie. Because that movie promoted what they wanted. Wonder Woman has kind of been their stepchild because they don't want to recognize it, but they also don't want to push it to the side and say, oh, we don't own this movie too. This is definitely a movie for the feminines. But, they constantly go after Gal Gadot for all kinds of reasons, and they don't like her. And that's the biggest thing. They don't like Gal Gadot, but they love Brie Larson. All you got to do is look at the difference between how the two act. Brie Larson acts like a jackass. Gal Gadot acts like a princess. There's two different reasons there why they like one over the other. Okay. And I remember when Wonder Woman came out, they were bitching because she doesn't shave her armpit, or she shouldn't shave her armpit hair and all this stuff. It was really weird. So this one, they're gonna hate this one as well. So I think there's a typo here. It hasn't been 100 years since Steve had passed away because obviously World War I, there's not a huge 100-year gap between World War I and the 80s. So I think this is a typo here. But basically, Wonder Woman hasn't been very active since World War I. And that's because of Steve Trevor passing away. She's heartbroken about it. All right. Well, we can't have a woman in love and down and out because of a man. And that's what this whole movie is about, by the way, which is why they're going to be upset about this and they're going to whine and complain about it because, Wonder Woman shouldn't need no man. Captain Marvel didn't need no man. Why do you think they love that movie so much? But in this one you have, and I'd like to point out the director of the movie. One of the reasons she likes Chris Pine, who plays Steve Trevor, she says, well, he ain't no beta. Okay, this is the kind of stuff they don't like to hear. All right. So Wonder Woman shouldn't need no man. That's another reason why they didn't like that movie. Okay, Steve wasn't a wuss. He held his own. They had good chemistry too. I'm looking forward to this movie actually quite a bit. But basically, a mother and her daughter are talking about Wonder Woman. The mother says Wonder Woman isn't real. Some goons show up. Then Diana shows up, takes them out. This apparently explains why she hasn't been active. She's basically walked away and is here or there helping out, not that often. And this is because she's depressed because of Steve. Now, the premise here is there's some stones in the movie that I'm sure in the comics somewhere. I don't know what they're called in the movie, and I don't think they got named in these leaks, so I don't know where to look them up and see what they're from. But they basically grant wishes, and she wants Steve back. So she makes a wish that Steve will return, and this makes her happy again. And you know that's going to be a problem. But it's going to be more than just that. Because let's go to the new leaks. So here we go. The power of Steve. The post starts with Deanna and Steve's relationship and the effect it has on her powers. According to the in-depth leak from January, Diana wishes Steve back at the price of her abilities. The new spoiler says Diana's powers dwindle to the point she needs Steve to protect her. Wonder Woman unwittingly gives up her powers and she wishes Steve back so she can solely use her lasso of truth. She gradually loses her strength as it becomes more difficult for her to fight, and at one point Steve becomes her protector. If true, this won't go over well with a certain crowd. One comment points out, yeah, even if Patty did come up with it, I can just hear all the why does she have to give up her powers for a man, even though we all know most male heroes would do it for the one they love, a la Superman. Now, that's a really good point. Superman 2. Superman gives up his powers to be with Lois. Even in the recent Crisis on Infinite Earths, they go find the Smallville Superman, and he's given up his powers so he can have a family. But that's okay. They're not going to whine about that. A woman giving up her powers, well, she don't need no man. So the rest of the article talks about her fighting Cheetah and how Cheetah pretty much just takes wipes her all over the floor because she's losing her powers. And then spoilers at the end, of course, she wishes for it to be undone. Steve vanishes, she gets her powers back, and so on and so on. And he says, listen, I just want you to be happy. Don't stay lonely forever. I don't want that. And then he vanishes. It actually sounds like a really good movie from the plot leaks. So I'm actually hoping that these leaks are true. But here's the other thing that I thought was funny. So how does Steve come back? So he doesn't really physically come back. If you remember the show Quantum Leap, the main character pretty much leaps throughout time, but he leaps into people's bodies. You see him, the actor that played Sam, that was the name of the character, but everybody else saw the other person. They saw the body, but we got to see him. So they're going to do a similar type of concept. I actually think that's really cool because I think that show came out in the 80s. I don't quite remember. So you're going to have it seems like it's playing homage to that. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's why you see Chris Pine. They're doing Quantum Leap styles. So like when he looks in a mirror, he sees the new body. I think that's actually an interesting idea. I think that's pretty cool. So if this movie's going to be, it's going to be funny. I can't wait to see the reviews for this. I got to tell you, because this goes against everything that they want. They don't want this type of movie. Wonder Woman don't need no man. She should have still been an ass-kicking machine. She don't need Chris Pine. And she's losing her powers. How she would give up her powers for a man? For love? This is not the way of feminism. So, of course, they're going to whine about it. They're going to piss and moan. They're not going to care for this plot. So I wonder, will they bury it? Because you would think that they would be okay with it because they just want to see a superhero movie do well with a female lead, which I think this movie will. These movies are made for everybody. And they blatantly tell you, we want everyone to see it. Gal Gadot came out recently and said, Wonder Woman's for boys and girls. It's not your agenda piece. And I liked that. So I'm actually looking forward to this movie, and I hope it does well. I really do, because I think Gal is a good Wonder Woman, and I think the movies are fun. I really liked the first one, and I'm hoping this one's good as well. So we shall see. But either way, I'm sure that they're not going to like this plot down there in San Francisco. But anyway, remember what I said? This could all be fake. Take it with a grain of salt. If it's true, I find this to be pretty awesome. Anyway, that's it. Like and subscribe. leave me your comments. Let me know what you thought about this. What do you think? Do you think this is going to rile people up? Why do you think Wonder Woman bothers them so much? They never mention this. It's always Captain Marvel or Birds of Prey. They never talk about Wonder Woman. They never talk about it. They never talk about how men liked it, how there was no outrage surrounding it. And I've always found that funny. So let me know your thoughts on that. Share the video. That'd be most appreciated. Also, make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that and subscribe if you're new.